Alright, welcome to the Calculator Basics Quadratic Edition. So, what are we going to do today? Well, we shall try to cover some of the basic quadratic things that you can do for your calculator to kind of get you going. Now, so to make sure we're kind of all on the same page, again, you have to use the calculator, the nspire, because we're talking about the nspire, and you kind of got to press the buttons that I tell you to press. So, okay, so to make sure we're all on the same page, we're going to say clear the calculator first, press the home button, press 1 and choose no. So that way you're all starting off with a new document. And at this point the calculator will be asking you, would you like to have a calculator page? Would you like to have a graphing page? So on and so forth. So we're doing this with the idea that we're going to go ahead and start from brand new. This skips the scratch pad. Keep that in mind. Don't go to the scratch pad. This is to get you going. There's a reason why I like to use these pages. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to choose number 2. Okay, so we're going to approach these from the graphing point of view. Number 2, add graphs. Okay, so if you've done everything correctly, this should appear on your screen, the graphing calculator screen. Now, some key things here. Of course, you can type in the function here. This is what is known as the equation editor. Okay, so we can always use this right here to type in. Okay, if you press enter, once you've typed in your function, if you press enter, the function will appear, the graph will appear on the screen, assuming that it fits on the screen. If you make a mistake or you need to make changes to that function, press Control G, so you will always go right back to the equation editor. Now you see how this one right here says F1? Okay, so let's say you typed into F1, I don't know, x squared plus 3x plus 2. Okay, press Control, and then you press enter, and you got some graph that looks something like, I don't know, we'll say like this. Alright? And then you realize, oh, that was supposed to be a minus 2. Okay, so you press Control G. What you will see up here on the screen, you will not see F1. You will see F2. So you will have to press up on the touchpad to go back to F1, and then you can make your changes. So keep that in mind. Now, also, keep in mind that we can use the trace function to find zeros. Well, that was just a horrible way to write 2 letters, wasn't it? Let's try that again. To find the zeros, to say find the maximum or minimum. In this case, a lot of these are maximums. And we can do that by pressing menu, 5, and 1. Okay, so you can do that to kind of get those in there. Alright, so moving forward. Alright, we had a function like this at the end of today of the lesson that talked about, say, a diver diving off a 24-foot platform, so on and so forth, whatever. Okay, so he's jumping off, and we had this kind of graph. Well, if we wanted to find different points on that graph, again, what we can do is we can press Control T. And if you don't remember Control T, you can always go to menu and look for something there. So press Control T, and then what you should see on your screen is this. Wow, that kind of came out a little grainy. But anyway, okay, so so you can now see the table, and you can go up or down by just pressing up or down to go and find points on the table. Now, if you needed to see something, let's say, more refined, like, okay, we don't want to go by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, well then you can press menu. And if you notice here, this is a little darker right in here. That means that's the one that's highlighted. Okay, so that means when you press menu, you should see something that says table, and then you choose option 5, which is table settings. And there you can see, and it will tell you table start and table step. Table step says how much do you want to go by. It's defaulted at 1, so it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, so it goes by ones. But you can change it to, like, say 0.5, and it would go 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5 like that. Or 0.25 and you go 1, 1.25, 1.5, 1.75, 2, 2.25, so on and so forth. So those will be some of the things you can do on the calculator with that to help you find some of the points. Again, if you wanted to go from here to here and back and forth, press Control and Tab, and which is right above the control button, and then that will switch you back and forth between those two screens. So that allows you to go back and forth between the screens. Now, the reason why I like to be in this page is because if I want to add a new, like do a new function, let's say, rather than just do a whole brand new thing, you can press Control. Notice a lot of these are with Control, and then Dock, and they will give you a choice for new pages, and then you can add a new page, and let's say you could add a new graphing page. So if you do that, you might get something like this. Okay, so you might get something like that. I guess I probably should have paused the screen for a second. So anyways, but you get and you can go back and forth between those pages. You can use your cursor if you use the touchpad, and when you see the little arrow, you can just move it up to here and click, and it will switch you between pages. So remember, your touchpad can act as a mouse, which honestly, for many years, I did not know that. I feel so slow on that sometimes. Anyways, or if you want to go between pages, you can also press Control and press to the left or to the right, and it will go back and forth between pages. So there's some thoughts there. But you know, that covers a lot of those basics that you need for the graphing. So let me just pause real quick, 1 second. Okay, one last thing. Let's look at this graph. As you can see, this graph is a little bit hard to see because you don't see the max or min. Honestly, if you do press Menu 5-1 and do the trace, you'll kind of already automatically start at like the y-intercept, and you can kind of go anywhere you want to find the max or the min. So you can adjust the screen that way. You don't necessarily need to worry too much about like where does it make it fit. But if you wanted to, you can even also again go to Menu, and this in case that the graph does ask you to change it around. Menu, and then press 4, and then I recommend choosing 1, and that would be the Windows settings. And in under Windows settings, you'll have an X-min, X-max, Y-min, Y-max. So, you know, you kind of have to sometimes guesstimate these, but like in this case, I'll give you an idea of how my thinking goes, and maybe I will help you understand these, and I will give you the settings. But I would partially look at it two ways. Do I want to see the whole graph, or do I just need to see the positive part of it? If I want to just see the positive part of it, then I would probably start at -1 just so I can get it a little bit to the left of here. And then go 1, 2, 3, it looks like 3. Maybe I go to 4 or 5. And then the Y-min, I can go again to -1, just again to be a little bit below. And then maybe I go above. Now this right here is my Y-intercept, that's 60. And it's going to be higher than that. So maybe I go a little bit higher, so I'll say 70. Maybe it fits completely, maybe it doesn't. I'm kind of guessing here. And if I need to adjust that, I can always adjust that number. I can always go back to Menu 4-1 and adjust that. So then that would allow me to adjust it, and that's kind of the way I do it. If I wanted to go, like maybe not worry about so much about the positive part of it, and I wanted to see the whole graph, per se, well then I definitely would say, okay, if I want to see the whole graph, let's see here, this goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and to 3, so maybe I go from -5 to 3. That way I can see these points right here. I would still probably go with -1 and maybe still go with 70 and hopefully fit it in. And again, if that doesn't fit in, then I would change this number. So it depends on what I need to see and how I want to do it. More than likely, I will give you those settings and we'll go from there. Anyways, as promised, here is the calculator basics. Hope this helps y'all a lot as you're working on the assignment. Thank you so much. Y'all take care.